Ladies and gentlemen, after a long anticipated wait between Daryl Dixon Season 1 and Season 2, we finally got the first episode of the season, and really, thank you, The Walking Dead, for these long and really confusing names. Try pronouncing this whole thing as one. Ready? The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol. Then the episode is called La Gentilesse des Strangers. Okay, I'm obviously not French. Clearly, I don't know what the hell that means. But that's my best. Go ahead, good luck, try pronouncing it yourself. But Jesus, for the sake of these videos, there is no way that I'm going to be calling it Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol for the entire run. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I don't know, you're going to see it up on the title, but whatever. These names are getting ridiculous. Regardless, I know that's a small detail. But this is an episode that I was really excited to see because I really did love Season 1 of the Daryl Dixon Show. I thought it was actually really good. If you've been following the channel for long enough, you'd know that I've been critical of the trailers. Like early on before Season 1 came out, I was very critical of the trailers for the show. I thought that it didn't look good. And then when Season 1 came out, I was very pleasantly surprised because I genuinely thought it was a phenomenal season. Those 6 episodes of the show were truly great. I really didn't have any problems whatsoever with them. And even though Carol coming in, who was never one of my favorite characters in The Walking Dead, I mean, I understand why she's a fan favorite. She just wasn't personally like my favorite character. But at the end, when she came back and that whole story of her coming back to find Daryl seemed really interesting to me. I mean, I know the overall premise of the show was supposed to be around the two of them. So seeing her come in to try to save Daryl and just point blank period, seeing her come back into the picture was very exciting for me personally. And honestly, I came into this season with a similar feeling that I had from the first season, wherein I didn't think the trailers for Season 2 looked good, but I looked past that because I didn't think the trailers for Season 1 looked good. So I was still relatively optimistic. I mean, I'm not like over the moon excited about Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol Season 2. Like it wasn't anything that like really tickled me, if you know what I mean. But I still went in thinking, okay, even if the trailers don't look that good, I know that was the case for Season 1, so Season 2 is probably going to be in a similar boat. Didn't want to set the bar too high, but didn't want to set it too low. I just went in optimistic, and I gotta say, I do like that this episode immediately picked up where it left off, but the first thing, okay, let me give a quick TLDR before I get into the video. I know you guys have been getting on my ass lately for me being like pessimistic about The Walking Dead and all of that stuff, but I have to preface this video by saying I didn't really like this episode. Okay, there were things in it as a principle that I thought were good, like cool, it's great to see Carol again, it's great to see, Daryl back on screen, and I loved Laurent and Isabel and all of that stuff. But the episode instantly, even though it opened back up immediately where it left off, essentially with Daryl on the beach of Normandy and Laurent behind him, I should say, even from there on, there were flaws I found instantly. Like right away, Laurent seemingly fell for no reason and couldn't get back up, even though he could easily get back up, and even though there was only like 3 walkers in front of him, like, small flaw, I get it. I know that's me just being picky, but also in the same vein, like, come on, like, why do you have to show it that way? Like, at least put him in something that makes it seem like he's worth saving from Daryl. That being said, though, it's great to see Laurent again. It's great to see Daryl again, especially with a good speaking role, unlike what we had in the early days of The Walking Dead, because if you guys remember, in the early days of the show, he just grunted all the time. So, okay, not a big deal. Like, you could easily get past one little slip through the cracks. But then the cracks continued as soon as there's a meeting in Hogwarts or whatever the hell the place is in France. I don't know what it's called. They're all in a meeting and then Daryl walks in out of nowhere like like literally like it's speak now or forever hold your peace. He comes in and is like, yeah, gotta go up against him. Like, okay, all right, cinematic bullshit, you know, I don't know. That's just another little thing. Like, automatically, okay, like the story was progressing and I was trying to find ways to stay invested in the story at large, but then they just do these goofy things like they're on falling and there being literally no threat whatsoever, really. And then Daryl coming into the room late and everyone turns around and is like, oh, it's Daryl. Like, I get he walked away and went away, but like, it was just goofy to me. Okay, those are the small things, but we didn't really get much of Daryl. Obviously, we got him telling Isabel later that he misses the people at home and that he's wondering if they're still thinking about him, and then it juxtapositions to Carol on the bike, which I did think was pretty cool. She's on the bike, and we see her essentially going after Daryl. And I will say that Carol's reintroduction into the story with her going to the bike shop guys and holding them up is pretty badass in typical Carol fashion, and I did like that. But you know, I mean, obviously, like, that's one small element, but it was cool to see her go back to this group and just, you know, live out this thing where she's a badass with the crossbow and all of that. Like, she's typical Carol, and I really liked that we got to see that, and I liked that whole sequence of events where she's vetting them, asking where her friend Daryl is. I thought that was great, and it was good to see that sort of thing. And after that, I did like that we got to see Carol, Jesus. I like that we got to see Carol in the car and she's flipping through the music and that there's the meditation thing come on, which comes back later in the episode. But I did like that there was that whole meditation thing and it pissed her off and it got her to crash. I thought that was pretty interesting. So I will say it was cool to see Carol again, and it was cool that the book of Carol focused on her essentially trying to find Daryl, which was interesting, and seeing a little bit of that backstory was cool. But then that's where like it got a little goofy for me, honestly. Okay, I have to say the idea of her going back and trying to find, you know, Daryl, and she sees the plane, and then she obviously goes to find where this plane was like landing. That makes total sense. I understand it. But then again, like, the plane flew so far away and she was on feet after the crash from the meditation thing. It was a little confusing as to how she just stumbled across this guy. Like, the plane was definitely out of her peripheral, unless I missed something in the episode, but I did find that very confusing. It didn't really make much sense to me. But anyway, she finds the guy, and the guy just immediately, like, lets her in. Of course, she's typical Carol, being all sweetheart, blah, 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 but the guy's like, yeah, okay, whatever, come in. Like, okay, dude, you've been in this place with a fucking plane, like, with a plane this whole time, attracting anything, like you said, walkers and all of that stuff. You've been attracting all of this stuff, yet you're just gonna let some random lady in like it's no big deal over a story that, like, we even hear about here where it's like, oh, my car broke down, like, can I come in your house? Like, dude, that shit happens all the time in the real world, and it's usually people trying to rob a place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's funny to me. Like, this guy, clearly, I don't know his name. I'm not sure this guy's name. I know his son's name, but I don't remember his. Anyway, clearly this guy's a bozo, like a pure idiot. Like, he just lets this girl in, like, it's no problem whatsoever. And it's just like, really, why would this guy then proceed to let this complete stranger into his house, let her sleep there or whatever? That's fine. It is what it is. But then the next morning, you just leave this complete random stranger alone at your house while he went off in a plane. He's not even near the property. He's fucking 30,000 feet in the air. Makes no sense. If anything, if you know you have a complete stranger in your house, don't, like, bring her in the plane with you or something. Like, it's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And this goes back to something I said on my live stream that is no longer on this channel right now, but I live streamed yesterday, and I was talking about this. The Walking Dead in the earlier seasons of the show was so good because it felt real. Like, it felt like a story that you could follow, like, you and your friends if the apocalypse happened. Like, it felt like something that was grounded in realism, just taking place in a science fiction sort of environment, like, you know, the Walker virus and all of that stuff. So that was what was great about it in the earlier days. But now in the show, we have this where this guy in this vetted apocalypse where they're like 15 years into the apocalypse, he just lets her in like it's no problem and lets her stay at his house with no problem whatsoever while he goes away and flies a plane especially after you do run off and go, oh shit, into the greenhouse, like obviously knowing that this stranger is watching you do that. Like, it just didn't make sense. And I know I'm looking into it too much, but these are the moments that in episode 1 of a season, like in this important episode that you have that are just like, this is what like takes me out of the Walking Dead universe. This is what makes it not feel right. And I think this episode is a prime example of the things that Gimple has fucked up in the universe and things that have made this universe feel like something like Planet Z. Like it doesn't feel like The Walking Dead anymore. It feels weird, which sucks because the first season, I'd argue, didn't really have moments like this. And maybe this is just a fluke. Maybe it's just one episode, or maybe the reviews that I've seen that were very negative of this season are true, because I gotta say, this episode was just goofy. Like, okay, the overarching premise was cool. I liked that we saw Daryl. I liked that we saw Carol trying to find him. Like, those concepts at very, very large are really cool, but like, then you have things like this where this guy just immediately just lets her in and then leaves with her there being stupid. That's one thing. But then there's other things with this guy later we're going to get to. The one thing I do have a note of, and I specifically made a note of this, is that I'm surprised that Carol lied about Sophia to this guy. Like, I don't really understand why she'd do that. And I mean, I get that she wanted to convince him to fly, and saying that she needs to save a friend is not nearly as convincing as saying that you need to find your daughter. But that's a shitty thing to lie about. Like, especially after this guy opened up to you, after you had already lied to him and went into his greenhouse, which was insane and stupid. Like, and to be fair, I do like that she opened up to him and said she was curious about what was in there. Like, that was cool. Like, glad she did that at least. But then, like, why would you lie about your dead daughter? I just don't understand that when he opened up to you about it. And I get it. It's for the sake that he should fly the plane, blah, blah, blah. And I like that his immediate response was, oh, so you were saying this just to like get me to fly. Okay, if that was how the series of events transpired, at that point, just be like, well, I wasn't even being truthful to you there. My best friend is away. Like, you know what I mean? I understand they're going to set this up. And if I'm being suspecting, like, this is me guesstimating what's going to happen. They're idiotically going to fly. Obviously, she's going to get to France. We know that happens. Obviously that's going to happen. And then he's going to die trying to save her or something like that. This is very predictable. The dude is going to die at some point in time. I don't think they're setting him up to be a love interest, but clearly he's going to die. Like, something's going to happen to this guy. Regardless, though, I don't understand why she would lie about that. It makes me not like her character as much because, like, that's really insensitive to lie about your dead daughter like that. Whatever. Anyway, him agreeing is one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Him coming back and just randomly agreeing to fly makes no sense and is so unbelievable. It's not even funny how ridiculously unbelievable that is. I mean, this guy is a certified dumbass who didn't even vet Carol's story to begin with. He just immediately believed her and believed that this woman who's been in the apocalypse for 15 years is now trying to go to France to find his daughter. Like, I don't think they did any sort of a good job explaining that. And then his just instant willingness to just be like, yep, I'm gonna leave everything, we're going to France. And he even said it in the episode, these are uncharted, there's no navigation, there's no any of this, we're just gonna fucking fly. What? You spent no time building that up. You spent no time building that up, and then you fly away at the end in a fucking Fear the Walking Dead plane. Like, oh dude, like, okay, I'm excited to see Carol find Daryl. I really am. And I totally get that in a world like this, it's easy to lose hope in the case of this guy and want to keep moving. But that was just very weird. And And then after that, I forgot this was even a part of the episode. After that, I am so confused. Daryl had ample opportunity to kill Madame Janae, like ample opportunity, but he spent the whole time loading his gun in the slowest fashion possible, just like how in season 8 of The Walking Dead, Rick had every opportunity to shoot Negan, but because Gimple wants you to follow the story, he doesn't. He misses every shot. Here we have Daryl reload a fucking 2-shell shotgun or whatever it is. I don't know what you call it. Reloading it in the slowest fashion, then whoop-de-doo, the freaking delayed explosion goes off, and somehow magically Madame Janae disappears. Like, okay, you're telling me that this man who has survived in the woods for as long as Daryl Dixon has just notices she disappears and doesn't hear anything, doesn't follow the footsteps, nothing? Where'd she go? She was out in the open, surrounded by a car. What, did she vanish? Did she fly away like in The Witch when at the end the lady flies away like a witch? Like, what the fuck happened to her? There's no way that she just disappeared. Like, come on, that's some stupid movie shit, and it goes back to the point that I'm making in the episode, that it's like, this is The Walking Dead that I hate, where it becomes unbelievable, like a sci-fi fucking show. Like, what the hell? Like, okay, again, the overarching premise, it's great to see Daryl back, it's great to see Carol finally in the story and wanting to get to Daryl. Like, those are great elements. I'm excited to see where that goes. But this episode just was executed poorly, and I hope the season gets better from here, because this was not a way to introduce your 6 episodes of season 2 of a show that's called The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol. That's a long fucking name. Jesus. That's my review. I'd love to know from you, and I'm sorry, you guys, I'm sorry this is pessimistic, but I'm just being honest with you. That's how I felt about the episode. I wasn't like over the moon excited about it, but now that I got it, I think I'm allowed to talk about how I genuinely feel. Didn't really like it, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Did you like it? Let me know down there. And with all of that out of the way, thanks again so much for watching this video. Until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.